All right, so our Cardinals coverage continues in a very intelligent manner. We welcome in the one, the only AQ Shipley via video. And if you ever wondered what a young Bruce Arians might look like, AQ Shipley is a very handsome young version of Bruce Arians. All you need is a Kangol hat, brother. There you
I need
go.
one. I need one right there.
There you go. All right, AQ, let's start from 30,000 feet, 5-game losing streak going into the bye week. What does this football team need to kind of get whole, to get out of this mess they're in?
They need a win, period. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Like that, you need something to stop the skid. And when you look at this team, everything, all three phases, situational football, they seem to have some sort of letdown every single week. And yesterday it was end of half, end of game, right? Like those are all situational things that you work on over and over and over. And both of them came back to bite them yesterday.
Yeah, AQ, when you fail at situational football time and time again, I mean, I guess, and Jonathan Gannon basically said it starts with me. I'm sure you agree. You played a long time in this game. When there are situational football breakdowns that cause you to lose football games, how does it get fixed? Where does it start? Do the players have any accountability, or does it all fall on the coaching staff and the head coach?
The head coach is going to say, yeah, it's all my fault, and that's what he should do as a leader, right? Just like the quarterback should take the blame for the offense, right? And that's typically what happens, but at the end of the day, it's each and every man in that building from top to bottom. I mean, it's players alike, it's coaches alike. At the end of the day, players can fix calls, right? Like that's the biggest thing that I talk about all the time. Like they can make a call and they have a bad look, but if a player makes a good block and now all of a sudden you're out the gate, okay, we didn't have a good call versus that look, but somehow it turned into a 20-yard gain, right? And so there's so many different situations, and situational football is everything. Ironically, that's a Green Bay team that was leading the league in third down efficiency, and defensively, we were shutting them down on third down, and we were actually very good on third down yesterday most of the game. But like I said, there's multiple phases to situational football, and end of half, end of game came back to ball.
All right, what'd you think of the 4th and 1 tush push, given the fact that this is really not part of the team's DNA?
Yeah, I mean, I love the call, really. I really do. And every quarterback sneak they've run with Jacoby Brissett has been successful thus far against Indianapolis last week and also yesterday, right? And so I love the call. I like being aggressive. I'm a firm believer in today's game. If you give anybody and any quarterback in this league the ball back with a chance to win it, more often than not, they will. And that's just the way the game is today. It's an offensive-minded league. And so staying aggressive, taking more time off the clock, keeping the ball in your hands, I love that call. I love that decision. You cannot sit there and question it based on results. I'm very big on believing that. Like, if you make the right call and it doesn't succeed, but you made the right call, I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah, AQ, yeah, I think Dan and I are in concert that I don't think neither of us mind going for it there. It's just the play selection. And again, play calling is, if it works, it's a great call. If it doesn't work, it's a bad call. That's life in the National Football League. When a team, though, gets outscored the way the Cardinals have in the fourth quarter, in the last 3 games, it's been 44-6. Over the season, it's been 76-29. AQ, is there something you could put your finger on as to why that's happening and how it can stop happening?
I think it comes down to, and I've talked about this a lot all year on the broadcast, on the show, I think there is subconsciously just a little bit of let's play safe here. Let's play prevent. Let's play everything in front of us on defense. Let's run the ball. Let's not take chances and continue to stay aggressive. And what gave us the lead early on in this game or through 3 quarters, right? And I think subconsciously you feel good when you have a lead. And then also it's like, okay, cool. Well, let's just defer and give it back to the defense and they're going to make a play, right? So we're always waiting for someone else to make a play instead of someone going and making the play, right? And so I think there's a lot of that going on. And even yesterday, it's like, even yesterday and last week, right? Like they get down basically to the other team's 25 yesterday or 30, whatever it was. And then last week it was down to the other team's 9. And then you kind of let off the gas again, right? Like you don't keep doing what you're doing. And so I think there's a little bit of that going on. And I was actually encouraged when they got the stop, right? They get Green Bay backed up and they get the stop defensively and we get the ball back. And I'm like, okay, cool. The defense actually made a stop there. and then they let it all go whenever they give it up the next time, right?
All right, so Jacoby Brissett backed up his really nice start in Indianapolis with another good one yesterday. Jonathan Gannon says, nope, nothing's changed. Kyler Murray's going to be the guy in Dallas. What do we need to see from Kyler now that Cardinal fans have seen 2 games of Jacoby, and what happens if this offense reverts to what we saw prior to Jacoby Brissett?
Kyler has a tough job coming up. He really does, because I think this entire city, maybe this entire country, has seen this offense be capable of winning football, arguably against 2 of the best teams in football. We can sit here and say the Indianapolis Colts are probably the best football team in the National Football League.
Amazingly, but
2
it's
weeks,
true. Yep.
And 2 weeks into the season, everybody was saying Green Bay was going to the Super Bowl, right? So that's 2 of the best teams, and you just watched Jacoby Brissett run a very efficient offense. And I don't know what his final QBR was, but after 11 straight completions in the third, I know Dave Pasch said it was like 128. And so that's a very efficient game of football, and he's taking care of the football. He's making plays. He steps up in the pocket. He distributes to different guys. The running game looks better the last 2 weeks, right? Everything has looked better. Everything has looked more on schedule. And so when you see that compared to the previous 5 weeks, then that's kind of now what the expectations are. And so if we come out in Dallas and look flat and don't look anything like that, or a shell of what it has looked like, it's going to get loud.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm curious to tap into your experience, AQ. What are conversations like in the locker room when you have a situation like this? I don't really care. Ironically, I'm a media person, but I don't really care what guys say publicly. But in the locker room, when losses are piling up and there's a quarterback debate, if you will, of who should be out there, who gives us the best chance to win. I know guys are getting paid to do their job. I got to focus, got to do my job. But come on, man, there have to be conversations about what's going on from an organizational standpoint in terms of trying to ultimately do what you want to do every week, and that's win.
I can sit here and say the cliche answer, and I think that's what most people say. But yeah, you're right. I mean, 100%. Everybody sees what's going on, and those conversations are had. And, ultimately, everybody's going to be true professionals. They're going to go out and they're going to do their job regardless of who's behind them. And that's the cliche answer. And that's what they have to do, because at the end of the day, they're getting paid to do a job, and not for anything, but like they also want their job to continue to be on that team or employed in this league, right? So you're going to go out and play to the best of your ability regardless of who's behind you. But don't for 1 second think that there's not conversations being had like, hey, this has looked pretty good the last 2 weeks.
All right, lastly, AQ, when you take a look at the offensive line, the Cardinals actually ran the ball really well in the first quarter, but on that last drive and those last 3 plays, it looks like there were breakdowns all over the offensive line. They couldn't stop Micah Parsons. Were they exhausted? What happened at the end of the game?
Yeah, so it's probably a combination of both, right? Like that's a nightmare scenario always for the offensive line, because there really is no threat of running the football at that point. Like, we know we got less than 2 minutes left. We got to get down the field. We're going to pass the ball. So those D linemen, they're not in 2-gap stances reading the run. They are teed up, sprinter stance, on the blocks, taking off, jetted up, getting ready to go and try and sack a quarterback, right? Having said all that, watching it live, I still haven't taken a peek at the film, but it looked to me like they were sliding to Micah. So if you're sliding to Micah and Will Hernandez is your inside guy, if you're Jonah Williams, the only place you can't get beat is outside, right? Like, because you're inside help. You have inside help to Will Hernandez. And it clearly looked like Will was pretty upset that, like, on one of those that happened. And so when you look at that, it's just, he's an elite pass rusher. I get that. But you also, the entire game plan is set up so that he doesn't wreck the game, and he wrecked the game.
That's it. Great stuff as always, AQ. Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week.
Always, boys. Take care.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.